more challenging data type, which is the text data type. Text is very hard. Okay, so I will need you guys to concentrate with me, focus as much as you can. I'm going to share a whiteboard, and let's talk about the challenges of text data compared to, for example, dates, right? Where is my tools? Okay, so we'll use it on Excel then. Okay. Right, so let me open a new Excel file. All right. So when we were working with dates, right, we said that when we have a date like this, right, Excel knows the format of this date. Excel automatically, based on the settings you have for your computer, regional settings and stuff like that, it can say that 2 is the month, 5 is the day, and 21 is the year. Okay, so the data here is structured. Structured means that it has a structure. There is a structure in the data. You can look at the data and find out which is the day, which is the month, and which is the year, right? Now look at a text example. Let's look at a text example like I love USA, for example. Okay. Now, if you look at this sentence, there is no structure to this sentence. So how does Excel even know that these are 3 different words? We are talking about a computer, not human beings. I mean, if you remember when you were in KG kindergarten a long time ago, you will find that when you didn't know how to read words and sentences, you would read the letters I-L-O-V-E-U-S-A, right? So this is how the computer thinks. The computer does not have your experience in reading. The computer has not read as many books as you did. So this data becomes problematic to the computer, because the computer will see this data as some letters, I-L-O-V-U-S-A, and that's it. It doesn't understand how to cut it into words. There is no built-in logic into the computer to cut a sentence into words, right? Also, if you look at this data, you are a human being. So by looking at this sentence, you can say that I here is the subject, love is the verb, and USA is the object, and USA is the name of a country, right? The computer does not know that as well. Okay, so it is very challenging to work with text data in Excel. One of the most difficult tasks to do, right? So how does Excel and computer science in general deal with text, and how we are going to work with text, right? So let's have a look at how Excel would save this sentence inside the memory of the computer. So let's look at how this sentence will be saved inside the memory of the computer, right? So if we have here, and this is, let's start here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. You will find that in the computer memory, it's divided into cells, like the Excel cells that you see in front of you. And this is how this text or this string is saved in Excel or in the computer memory. So we have the I, okay? And then in the second cell, we have a space, and then L, and then O, and then V, and then E, and then another space, and then U, S, A. Okay, so this is how the computer sees the text, right? It sees the text as an array or a list of characters and letters beside each other. It does not, there is no way for the computer to understand the context, to understand the structure of your sentence. It doesn't exist, right? So if we want to work with data, if I want to break this sentence into its words, how can I do this? Okay. As humans, we do this by looking at separators or delimiters between the words. So there is a space, right, between the I and love, and another space between the USA, right? So we as humans look at this sentence and we can divide it into its words by looking at the delimiters or connecting letters or connecting signs between the words, right? So comma, dot, colon, semicolon, all of these are ways we can divide our sentence into words, right? So in computer science and in Excel, we came up with a set of functions that allow us to find these delimiters, okay? So we can find the location of the space, right? And once we find the location of the space, we can use this knowledge to divide the sentence into words, right? So for example, I can tell Excel all the letters that come after the first space is one word. The letters between the first and second space is the second word. The letters after the second space are the third word, right? So we can do this, and we will see how to do this on Thursday, not today, okay? Right? Today we are going to talk, so do you understand how text is represented in computers, guys? Because this is important for you to be successful in using text functions. You need to understand that the memory of the computer of Excel is divided into cells like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And each character goes under the appropriate cell. So cell number 1 has the letter or character I. Cell number 2 has the space character after the I. Cell number 3 has the L of the love, and so on and so forth, right? So I need you to keep this in mind, and we will revisit it again on Thursday, right? All right. So very similar to date, we have two families of functions in text. We have functions that separate text into words or subtext, okay? And we have another family of functions that combine words and characters into text, okay? Now, when I say the word text and string mean the same thing. String is text, okay? So when you find me saying string, that means it's text, okay? So I want you to get used to using the two words interchangeably. Text is string is text, okay? So we want to, there are two families of functions to separate text into words and combine words and characters into text. This first family is rather complicated, so we will be working on that on Thursday in more details. Today, we will be working on combining words and characters into text. So this will be our focus today, right? So let's do an example and see what I mean by that, okay? So let's say that, like the example in the mock exam, for example, the sample exam, let's say that I have something called first name. No, let's do simpler than the first name. And we have here last name, okay? And I want to write the full name, okay? So I have the first name, for example, my name. And I want my full name to be written. So I want it to be like this. Right? So in order for me to write my full name, I need to combine my first name and my last name, right? I need to combine them together. So how do we combine different texts or different strings in Excel? We have one function, just one function, a very simple function and very straightforward function. The function is called concatenate, okay? Concatenate in English means joining stuff together, okay? concatenating things means joining them together, right? So it's a very simple function. It's one function only. So equal concatenate. Okay. And again, guys, I want you to know the functions, because we have another function called concat. This is not the one we are using. We are using concatenate. Okay. Right. And the parameters of concatenate are the texts we want to combine together, right? So here, for example, we want to combine the first name and last name. So I will click on the first name as my first parameter, comma, and my last name as my second parameter. So now I have Mohammed, A15, and B15, right? And this function concatenates or joins the two texts together. Now I want you to look at the result and tell me what's wrong. What's wrong with the result, guys?
No space.
Yes, no space. It doesn't make sense, right? So the concatenate function does not just concatenate cells, right? We can include explicit text, explicit characters or words there, right? So for example, what I mean is I can write it like this: equals concatenate, okay? And then the first parameter is my first name, okay, A15, comma, and then I want a space between the first name and last name, right? I want to put a space between the first name and last name. So I'm going to put double quotations, space, close double quotations, and then comma, and then the last name. Okay. So this way, I'm not just concatenating my first and last name, I am concatenating a space between them. Okay. So you can see that I included the cell A15, which contains my first name, and then I explicitly specified a space, and then I put B15, which is my last name. Okay, now we have it correctly: Mohammed space Abu Zahra. Okay, right. So this is everything about the concatenate function. Concatenate function is very, very, very simple, and the only catch, or the only problem that you may face is including explicit features in your text. Okay, so we'll do another example. The example that you see in the mock exam, the sample exam, when you get to do it. Okay, so let's say we have first name again, we have last name, and we have a company name called csumb.edu. Okay, and let's say let's use Sidona. I will use your name, Sidona. I'm sorry. Okay, Clark. And we want to create an email for Sidona, which will be on the form Sidona_Clark@csumb.edu. Okay, let's say we want to create this email. Okay, so how do we do this? Okay, so we will get here and write email, and we'll start combining the different parts of the we want. Okay, so it's the first name underscore last name and then at csumb.edu. So let's do this. So equals concatenate. Okay, and then the first text is the first name. Okay, comma, comes after it an underscore, so I will open double quotations and put an underscore there, and then close the double quotations, comma, and then the last name. Okay, and then another comma, and then at csumb.edu. This is explicit, so I will open double quotations at csumb.edu, right? And then I'm going to close the parentheses, right? Enter, and I have the correct email. Okay, so it doesn't matter. You can have as many texts as you want, up to 128 texts, right? So you can combine as many text as you want. So I combine the first name with an underscore with the last name and then with at csumb.edu. Okay. So any questions about the concatenate function, guys? All right. Now, perfect. So let's see the example and let's see if we will do it today. Right. So let's get you to do a simple example based on what we did so far. So right. So let's have first name and then last name and then full name. Right. So I want you to do use your own names, first name, last name for your own names, and I want you to display the full name like this. The full name this time I want it to be displayed like last name, okay, comma, space, first name. Okay. So I want you to try and do it. Use your own first names and last names, and try to use the concatenate function to compute the full name in this format: last name, comma, space, first name. Okay, go ahead and try it, and let me know if it will work or not. Okay, we'll do it 2 minutes, and then we will do it together. Okay. So for me, my first name is Mohammed, last name Abu Zahra. Okay, and then let's see how we will do the full name. Did you guys get it? Any problems, any issues with that? Okay. So let's do this together. Right. So very simple, equals concatenate. Right. And then the last name, this time I will start with the last name, comma, and then I want comma space. So I will open double quotations. Inside the double quotations, I will put a comma and space. Close the double quotations, comma, first name. And there it goes. All right. Any questions, any issues, any confusions with the concatenate functions? Concatenate function. Okay, so perfect. So I'm going to stop here, and we will spend Thursday working about separating text into its components, and we'll spend a lot of time there because it is complicated, as you will see. So yeah, any questions about anything before we end this class?
Will what we learn on Thursday be on our test next week?
I'm sorry?
The stuff we learn on Thursday, will that be on the test next week?
Yes.
Okay.
This is on the test. Yes. All right. Any other questions, anyone? Okay. So if you can work through the sample exam or go through some questions, and I will try to dedicate last maybe 20 minutes of Thursday to talk about the exam, answer your questions about anything that's confusing you, any set of functions. I will spend some time on Thursday working on that. So yeah. Okay, thank you everyone for showing up today, and I will see you Thursday. Have a great week.
Thank you,
Thank
Professor.
you.
Thank you, Professor.